What is up? What is up? What is up, y'all? We are here. We are live. We are active on this internet on a Father's Day Sunday. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you had a wonderful Father's Day. It's mid-afternoon here on the West Coast, 2:30 to be exact. And we might have some people here out west that are still spending some time with their fathers. Those who don't have fathers still spending some time commemorating, meditating, praying, doing whatever it is you do to find solace in the cards that life has dealt you. Some of you may be like me and have lost your father some time ago. Some of you may be enjoying time with your father now, and I encourage you all to spend as much time as you can with your father, loving on that man, because we know that being a father is not an easy task. And I just came on here for a few minutes, y'all. I'm not going to hold you long today. Came on here to wish you all a happy Father's Day for 2024. Hope everyone is doing well. I came across a story, y'all, on yesterday as I was traveling. We talking about Father's Day, right? I had to do some Father's Day things on yesterday. I drove for 14 hours from Northern California to Southern California, packed up my daughter's things from her residence in college at the University of California down south, packed up her stuff, put it on the truck, loaded it up, came back home. And I know y'all who have been to California say, well, it doesn't take 7 hours, 14 hours. How does the math end up mathing? Well, turns out, y'all, that your president, Joe Biden, was doing a fundraiser in LA on last evening and made the worst traffic in America that occurs commonly in LA, made the worst traffic even worse. So we had to deal with that. Got down to LA, got her packed up, hopped back in the vehicle, headed back up north. The father things, the things that we do for our children. And sometimes, it's part of being a child. Some things they don't appreciate until they get older and reflect on those things. They say hindsight is 2020. They look back on those things and say, wow, my dad, my father was on my team, was on my side. And those are the things, y'all. That's why we go out of our way as responsible fathers, not sperm donors, not them walk away baby daddies that ain't responsible. Moral Compass says the new backdrop looks great. Thank you, Moral Compass. I got a couple more I'm going to drop in the future. Stay tuned, bruh. Appreciate your support. But y'all, we did the father things this weekend. So today we kind of relaxing. We enjoying getting the love. We enjoying receiving the gifts and the cards and all the appreciation. Folks loving on us for being who we are. And these are the things we have to take to heart. Those of us who have been around, those of us who have stuck around, those of us who didn't take the easy, weak man route and walk away from our responsibilities. Yes, if I sound like I have a little chip on my shoulder, I might just. Because we know that the route that we have taken as fathers, it's Father's Day, y'all. This ain't Baby Daddy Day. It's Father's Day. I need y'all to make a distinction between those who are fathers and those who have dropped seeds in folks and fathered children. Baby daddies don't count. single mothers who try to take responsibility and say, well, I'm going to celebrate this day too, don't count. I see y'all dropping the hearts, dropping the likes. I appreciate y'all getting the likes up. I won't be on here long, y'all. I just wanted to get on here quickly and create a space for the fathers to say to y'all, if you haven't heard it enough today, that you are appreciated, your hard work, the father things that you do to shield your children, to shelter your children, to provide for your children, those things are appreciated. And if you ain't heard it from nobody else, I need you to hear it from me and Faith Jarman today, who says, Happy Father's Day. Because we know it's not easy. Y'all, I heard from my oldest son today who was at my high school graduation. He was there. He don't remember it. It was before social media. It was before the internet, but it was documented. The young man was there when I graduated high school. He couldn't walk. Folks passed him around and carried him around and did the things, but he was there. And that's putting it in reverse. Swivel Lock, thank you for being here and showing support. Because I'm telling you that at my high school graduation, he was there. But the truth of the matter is, on this Father's Day, at my high school graduation, I was there for him. And yeah, it gets weird a little bit sometimes because he's a grown man. He's established his own life and he's living his life and doing his thing. And you say, well, I'm in my 40s and he's in his 30s. Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. But I'm proud of it because I never missed a day, never missed a moment, never missed an opportunity to be an example in the lives of my children. And now that I'm in another phase of life, being an example to my grandchildren, y'all, it's about legacy and building something of value that you can pass down from generation to generation. So I'm on here, y'all, not to get a bunch of views today, not to garner a bunch of attention today, but just to make myself available to those fathers out there who need a little bit of encouragement to keep going, a little bit of acknowledgement to say, yo, bro, we understand what you've done in the past. We know what you sacrificed. Some of y'all don't understand that, but there's a sacrifice that goes into fathering. That's why so many wimps, so many punks run away from it. And yes, you may hear it in my voice, you may sense it in my tone. I don't have any respect for those who walk away from their responsibilities. Some of y'all run away from your responsibilities, can't get away fast enough, some of y'all. Here we have Faith Jarman. And I knew, Faith, coming on this chat today, I knew somebody was going to drop it in the chat. It just so happens that it's you at this moment. It says, my 12-year-old daughter's father is dead. I'm a single parent, so happy Father's Day to every father. I knew if I got on here, Faith, somebody was going to say it. Somebody was going to drop it in the chat. We appreciate you, Faith, because we know the burden that you face in raising a child and having to, at some point, explain things to that child. 12 years old, Yeah, you're right at that point where children start maturing and developing and they start asking questions. They question things in life and you have to explain certain things. My father didn't meet his father till he was older in life, y'all. My father was always there, which impacted me heavily to the point where when I became a teenage father, I had to look at my example and say, well, my daddy ain't never left me. So how could I leave this situation? Y'all understand what's going on? JRO49, thank you for being here. I'm not going to hold y'all long. I knew it would be short numbers today because people are out doing their thing for Father's Day and we appreciate you. I hope you come back and catch the replay and feel good that we patting you on the shoulder, patting you on the head today and saying, good job, my brother. Thank you for being there for your children. Thank you for not making your children wards of the state. Thank you for taking on your responsibilities and doing what you needed to do so that your children would not question who you were. They would know for certain in their lives, they would know in their minds who you were. Thank you, Moral Compass. We just putting it out here, bro. As I drove to Southern California to pick up my daughter on yesterday, y'all, to pack up her things from her university and bring her back home for the summer, I came across this story by another YouTuber who talked about Pastor Robert Morris. I don't know how many of y'all who have heard of that story out there, but it was so hard to listen to as this YouTuber read through the documentation of the story. And it talked about this pastor who's been a pastor for some time, who in his early years of ministry was sat down for a couple years because he did some dastardly things. Pastor Robert Morris, I'm not even going to read the story because it's too hard. It's too raw. This pastor, who wasn't a pastor then, he was in his early 20s, had a wife and a child of his own, was taken in by a pastor who believed in him. A man who had his own family, took this family in. Y'all, turns out this Pastor Robert Morris admitted to doing some illegal things with this man's 12-year-old daughter. Some dastardly things with this man's 12-year-old daughter. I'm not even going to read it to you, y'all, because as I was behind the wheel going to pick up my child, these things hurt my heart to hear this other person even read it out. It angered me. It upset me. And it made me think of Father's Day that was coming in just a few hours. And I said, this man, this father of this 12-year-old child, welcomed you into his home because he believed in you. He supported your ministry. He welcomed you into his home, you, your wife, and your child, and you violated this man's child. In acts of criminality, in acts of deviance, in acts of devilment. And you, sir, now that you are 40 something years older, you are an older man, and now you want to confess, you want to admit to certain things, you want to reveal certain things, sir. Pastor Robert Morris, y'all look it up, Google it for yourself. Do the research for yourself and read the story. I'm not going to read it here because it was too salacious. And here you are, you come out here decades later and you say, well, the girl's father gave me certain permissions, and the girl herself, who is now an older woman who has endured these scars for her entire life, says, my daddy would not have said that to you. My daddy wanted to kill you. Well, here we are dealing with a situation that someone else has brought to light that we must deal with. I suggest to y'all, I encourage y'all to explore it in your own time, because you're not going to get the story here. Not on this Father's Day, but I'm going to tell you, as I listen to this other YouTuber, as I was behind the wheel going to pick up my own child, as I listened to the details and internalized it all, I said, thank you, God, for not making that my experience. Thank you, God, for not giving me that burden, because I don't know that I would be a free man had I had to experience that in my life, where you welcome someone into your home because of ministry and they violate that trust. They violate that innocence. This woman said, I didn't know nothing about this. I wasn't active in this. I wasn't aware of anything about this. And this man, who my father welcomed into our home, did these things to me at 12 years old. He violated my person. He violated my mental, these things that would impact me even till this day, decades later. And y'all, they sat the man down for 2 years and said, you young minister, maybe you need to have a timeout. Thank you, Tazzy, for being here. Sharice Harris is here. Thank you for your support. Appreciate you all. We're going to let you go. We're not going to stay on here long. It's just something that I had to share with y'all. Moral compass, as I drove behind that truck yesterday, I said exactly what you said, moral compass. This is awful. What kind of man of the cloth, what kind of man in ministry can do such a thing and then hide it from the people? Well, I'm going to tell you his name. Y'all can go and search it. Y'all can figure it out on your own, but it's being reported by another vlogger that the man's name is Pastor Robert Morris. According to Google, he has 100,000 members at his church in Texas. He's worth about over $100 million. And this woman, this victim, years later, decades later, approached this man and said, bro, what you did to me was so wrong that I've spent so much money on counseling, trying to get my life together, and everyone attached to me has been affected in it. I spent so much money just trying to do self-help. I spent $50,000 in therapy. Give me my 50 back. She sued him for the 50. And y'all know how attorneys do. Y'all know I got a legal background. If you followed this channel for some time, the attorneys came back and said, we'll give you 25. But for the 25, we need you to sign an NDA saying you'll never mention this again in life. I know how that works. I've signed NDAs in my life. Some things I want to tell y'all, some things I want to express that I can't. This woman who's hurt, who's hurting, who's been hurting for decades because of the actions of this man, Pastor Robert Morris. On this Father's Day, she has to deal with those issues, and she came out and said, sir, as you try to put the blame on my daddy, my father, As you try to say to the public in your explanation that my father was okay with this, she says, "No, sir, you are lie from the pits of hell. You are wrong. My father would have never done so. My father wanted to kill you." And I have to tell you, y'all, as I sit here on this Father's Day 2024, wishing everyone in the chat a happy Father's Day. As Chris Rock once said in one of his stand ups, I don't agree with it. I don't endorse it. But I understand as a father why this man would have wanted to see your head severed from your body. Oh, I get it. And you say, well, it's been 40 years since the incident. Well, you and your 40 years might be good. You and your 40 years, having only sat down 2 years before you re entered ministry, you might be good. But it seems to me, as we review the story, seems to me like the victim is not so good. Pastor Robert Morris, it seems like the victim may still be suffering years later, and that trauma, that damage that you imparted on her life may have been passed down to other people in her life. Those around her, her children, her spouses, her personal relationships, those things that you scarred her with, maybe things that she was unable to escape. Seems like those things that she may have been unable to escape are those things that you are unwilling to compensate her for, sir. That damage that you may have imparted on her life. Seems like decades later, you are still not trying to take responsibility. Y'all look it up for yourselves. I'm not going to read it because it pained me just to hear it. This man who has over 100,000 members. No, we don't expect him to be without sin, but I'm going to tell you, y'all, as a parishioner myself, as a churchgoer myself, there are certain things that I'm not going to sit here and forgive you for as you up on that podium, as you up on that platform and you call yourself speaking the word of God. Y'all don't have to agree with it. Plenty of people disagree with me on this platform. Let me tell y'all something. On this Father's Day weekend, I've had so many people come at me sideways in the last 48 hours just because of some of the things I said about Pastor Tony Evans. And what that says to me, first of all, let me put this out there. Y'all can say what you want about me. You can call me whatever you want. I personally believe that ad hominem attacks are the lowest form of argumentation. So I'm judging you based on that first and foremost. But what it showed me is that some of y'all put so much faith in man instead of God. Some of y'all super saints out here claiming to have faith in God, but you really have your faith in your pastor. Because when somebody say something about God or use God's name in vain, you don't even flinch. You don't feel nothing. But let somebody say something about your pastor. Let somebody call your pastor out on his misdeeds that he is forced to admit to. Not something he voluntarily wanted to do because he's kept it hidden for years. Wasn't going to tell you at all till somebody forced the issue. And then y'all get crunk on Beyonce's internet. Then y'all want to throw names back and forth. Then y'all want to talk about vloggers and channel hosts and all kind of things and throw names back and forth. Let me tell you something, you people who ain't even got your comments approved because you're finding out the hard way that it's a block party over here. Your constitutional rights aren't respected. You ain't gonna get that comment off. You thought it was gonna be posted? Ha ha! Joke's on you. Let me tell you this. You can call me what you want. You can say what you want. Swivel lot. Melissa C. You can say what you want. Moral Compass, they can call me whatever they wish. I promise you, my path in life has been so unique. My path in life has been so different that whatever you choose to call me, I guarantee you, I've been called worse. Say what you want to say. Call me whatever you want to call me. I promise you, I've been called worse to my face. You thought you was going to get that comment off? Nah, not around here. You better go over to that other channel. Because it don't fly over here, bruh. You ain't gonna come over here and talk about the host like that just because I said something about your pastor that you disagreed with because your pastor was out here sinning against God. He deserved to be dragged. He deserved to be tarred and feathered and embarrassed in the town square. You telling me you gonna let this man who violated this 12-year-old and committed a crime that he never paid for, you gonna allow him to get away with it because he's been standing on the podium taking your money for decades? You think that's okay? No, let me set you straight on this Father's Day. Say what you want about me, sis, bruh, sir, ma'am. I've been called worse. It's a block party going on down here in these comments. You get out of line and disrespect the host, you'll never speak on this platform again. It's just the way I feel about it. That's what God has put in my spirit, and that's how I'm going to govern this situation. I'm not trying to be funny, Moral Compass. I'm trying to be real because folks out here talking sideways. They was okay when I was talking about that man. They was okay when I was talking about that woman. But as soon as you say something about their pastor who out here cutting up for decades and say, oh, y'all, I forgot to tell y'all, years ago, I committed a sin against God. And I figured I'd just mention it years later because somebody about to bust me out. And you gonna get mad at me because I provide some commentary on what your dirty pastor has put forth in the media? Man, you better get out of here. You don't understand how analytics works. We can look at this thing and say, we can see that you ain't never been subscribed in the first place. So when they unleash their army to come and say, oh, I'm unsubscribing from you. Well, you would never subscribe, you liar. You bad as your pastor out here lying in these YouTube streets. I guess the fruit don't fall far from the tree. He been lying, and here you are lying in these comments. Well, I'm going to do you a favor. You want to unsubscribe when you would never subscribe? Let me just go on and block you. It's a block party going on over here, y'all. It's up for you fake saints out here in these YouTube streets. Because your pastor is wrong. Your pastor is a liar. And in some cases, like this pastor, your pastor is a criminal and should be locked up under the jail for violating children. Nah, we ain't falling for it, bro. And we ain't giving you no pass because it's decades later. No, you don't get a pass for violating children. What kind of devil is in you? For those who follow you for years, we ain't never seen that devil come out. And we've seen folks come forth over the years and say, you know, I've had a similar experience to this. And it always seems like there's not just one victim. Because power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when we see these men get power over children in these demonic and criminal situations, it seems like they don't just stop with one. It's like Doritos, you can't just eat just one. You got to keep going and keep going and keep going until somewhere down the road somebody busts you out and you're forced to admit those dastardly sins. Well, on this Father's Day, y'all, and I'm going to let you go because I've been on here longer than I even thought I would be. I'm going to let you go. But on this Father's Day, I feel for that father. He may not even be around anymore. He may be like some of y'all in the chat whose fathers have passed on, like Faith Jarman, whose fathers have passed on like myself. He may be like some of y'all who didn't have a chance to do what he wanted to do. Can I put it like that on them folks' platform? Maybe he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do in that situation. Maybe there were some things that were pressing on him. Maybe he was in a communist state like myself, where if you do certain things, they don't care about the details. They don't care about the circumstance. They're going to send you to prison. Even in a self-defense type situation in my state, you're going to be charged. Paulette Ellis Valentine is here. Thank you for your support. Appreciate you. Is there anybody in the chat on this Father's Day who wants to say anything about their father? Melissa C says there were people defending the pedo pastor. Unbelievable. Yes, there is no defense. Because even here, decades later, Melissa C, that thing raised up in me as I was driving down to Southern California to pick up my own child. That thing rose up in my spirit, and I said, boy, I want to take action against this man as if I was the father of this child. Don't know her from a can of paint, but I can believe and understand and empathize and know that years later she's still suffering with this. While this man has gone on with his life and with his ministry, and he's standing up before the people and has amassed 100,000 parishioners in his own church, and is just now revealing to his own followers that he did that devilish act. No, 2 years of sitting down out of ministry ain't enough. 2 years in the penitentiary wouldn't have been enough for the things that this girl said you did to her. Moral Compass says, I love my dad. He told us he was going camping all weekend on Friday. That's totally him, though. He said, I don't want to see none of y'all. I need some alone time on Father's Day. I'm chilling. Respect to Moral Compass TV's daddy. I feel you, sir. If I hadn't have drove all of those hours to pick up my child, I'd have probably been at the gun range somewhere just blowing things off. But that's just me. I told my son earlier today, he was asking me some things about Father's Day and how I felt about certain things. I said, boy, I'm going to build my first. I'm on these folks' platform, y'all. Look, anybody know about pirates? What do pirates say? They say, "Arr." In California, you got to be careful about what you say and how you say it. So let's just say, I'm going to build my first "Arr." Those other things are those acts. Ack. You got R's and you got ack. I'm in a communist state, y'all. Work with me. I'm trying to do the best I can. But I'm going to build that thing. And he asked me about it. We talked about it. We had some fun with it. He said, I'm in a midlife crisis. Boy, I ain't even my 50s. Boy, I'm still in the 40 club. Don't play with me. Midlife crisis. He told me to go out and buy a convertible. Well, I might just. Don't tempt me. I appreciate y'all being here, hanging out with your boy on this Sunday, June 16th, Father's Day 2024. Nordia Thomas says, Happy Father's Day to Leo Thomas, the father of our 2 kids. Shout out to Leo, the father of those kids. Katie is here in the building. Shout out to Katie's husband. She says, Happy Father's Day, Brother Gerald. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Love y'all. God bless. In Jesus' name, happy Father's Day to Katie's husband. We appreciate her ongoing support. Swivel says, yo, I just wrote a book. Can I send it to you? Hit me up on Instagram. Send me a DM on Instagram at Gospel Chops. Moral Compass says, Happy Father's Day. Thanks for the unintentional laughs. You're crushing it, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you, Moral Compass. I'm not trying to be funny. I just, you know what, man? And I thought about it because it was a long journey to get my daughter and bring her back home from University of California. And I had some time to think behind the wheel. And I'm like, I love keeping it real with my audience because it would be so difficult, y'all, to fake it. Katie says her husband hears me. He's watching. Shout out to you, bruh, for not being a baby daddy, but for being a father. This day's for you. Appreciate you. And I said to myself, Moral Compass, so many things we could be doing as fathers. So many other places we could be as fathers. This is not the easy road. This is the hard road. And when we understand that this road is difficult, it's stressful, it's pressure, then we understand why so many people walk away from it. Why so many people run from it. Why so many people shy away from it. Their responsibilities, they just walk away. And I say to myself, who are these males? I'm not going to call them men. Who are these males who can walk away from this little baby, this little life, and say, I don't think enough of you to even stay around? Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you. Who are these men who walk away and say, I'm going to leave you with questions unanswered? I know it's going to scar you throughout your life. I know that you're going to get to a certain age and you're going to wonder. But yet and still, even knowing that, I'm going to walk away. And how do you know that, sir? Because your daddy did it to you. And you had those questions, and yet and still you pass that curse down to your next generation, to your seed. You couldn't man up. Katie says hurting people hurt people. Yes. But at some point, we got to break the curse, Katie. I was a teenage father, and I said to myself at a very young age, when you get the call, when you come to an understanding, oh, you got a baby on the way. Oh, things just got real. Oh, you were a kid, but you weren't acting like a kid. You thought you were a grown up. You thought you got to smelling yourself and thought that you could do what you wanted to do. You didn't want to obey nobody, didn't want to obey your parents, didn't want to behave, didn't want to act right. Then you get the call and you say, oh, well, there's one thing, y'all, that I considered in that time that swayed my decision more than anything else. Let me put it that way. My father never left me. And I know y'all might think it sound all deep at this point, but it's not deep at all. It's simple. My father never left me. So when I considered the situation, I said, ain't no way you going nowhere. You ain't leaving. What kind of man would you be? You had an example of something else. Don't you dare leave. Don't you dare walk away. You better stand here 10 toes down and take responsibility for your actions. So, do I think about folks who walk away in a certain way? I might. Do I think about folks who shirk their responsibilities in a certain way? I might. Do I think about folks who leave the burden on single mothers in a certain way? I might. Do I talk a certain way when I get in your son's ear about the responsibilities that he may face in life? I might. But that's where we are. That's real life. And when I come before y'all on this channel, I try to keep it a buck with y'all. I try to keep it 100 because it would be too difficult for me to fake it. If I got on here and faked it for y'all and lied to y'all and told y'all untruths, I'd have to try to remember what I said. I'd have to try to get my story straight so I wouldn't get caught in a lie. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got energy for that. And that's not my purpose of being here. So, y'all, for me and for those of y'all who follow me on this channel, I appreciate you so much. But it's so much easier for me to just turn my camera on and keep it real. We know what it is. Some people gonna connect with it. Some people gonna dig it. Some people not. It's the way it goes. Some people gonna like it. Some people not. Some people gonna feel it. Some people not. And some people, y'all, this is how funny the internet is. Some people gonna feel it all the way up to the point where I talk about they friends, where I talk about who they like. When I get on Tony Evans' head, then people gonna turn away and say, "Uh-oh, you pushed that button. I was with you till you said that." Well, maybe this is your point to hit the exit, sir, ma'am. Maybe this is the point where you disconnect because this altitude is too much for you. This the point where you jump out with your parachute because we're going up. Seems like you're not equipped to go to a higher altitude. We're going up. Maybe you should jump off here. I Am Redeemed said, did Trump curse at black folk during church? I don't know. I haven't seen that. I Am Redeemed. It wouldn't put it past me. You can't put it past me. I wouldn't reject it until I saw the video myself. I'm not going to take your word for it, but it may be true. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I Am Redeemed. He may have, because we know y'all out here, y'all try to blame Trump supporters and say, well, we think Trump is a deity. We don't think Trump is a deity. We know Trump ain't God. Y'all that let Trump off in your church just as crazy as y'all as let Joe Biden off in your church. Y'all crazy. Gonna let Trump off in your pulpit? You're crazy. You're gonna let Joe Biden off in your pulpit? You're crazy. These are politicians. Put them down on the floor where you put other folks who ain't got credentials and titles. We gonna reserve the pulpit and the podium for those pastors and elders and bishops who be out here touching on the little kids. Oh, y'all don't want to talk about that. I just told you about the story. You don't want to talk about that? Well, you put them up on the platform. You see, Carl Lentz from Hillsong trying to make a comeback, trying to get his ministry back. Y'all don't want to talk about that? Y'all want to put him up on the platform? And then when they sin and go left, like Tony Evans, then they say, oh, well, we need to sit him down. We need to get him off the platform and let him sit down here with everybody else. Well, what does that say to the people? That says that you can be up on that platform until you're caught with dirty hands. And when you're caught doing dirt, then we're going to sit you out here with the audience. What, bro? Don't bring your dirty self out here amongst us. We trying to get to God. What is it in you that feels like you dirty? Now you need to sit among us without titles, without positions. You think we dirty? Is that what you think of us? Katie, I don't even know what sent me here on this Father's Day. I don't even know what's going on, Swivel-Lock. I'm going to let y'all go. But there's much reason to be prayerful, y'all, even on this Father's Day. If you have a father in your life, show him some love. Show him some appreciation. If you don't have your father in your life, focus on the good times and the good memories. As long as you hold them in your heart, that person will live forever through you. They will live as long as you live. And if you pass those stories down, you pass those photos down, you pass those videos down to your next generation, they will have that person in them as well. That's what we about, y'all. It's about positivity. It's about uplifting. It's about doing right, not acting right. Some of y'all want to act like you're doing right, even though you're not doing right. Don't expect me to get on this platform and talk positive about your pastor and your bishop and your prophet when they not right. This man in this story has admitted to committing crimes against children. He is wrong and should be held accountable in a criminal court for the things that he did to a child. Similarly, the other pastor came out and he tried to play on your sensibilities and say, hey, I did some wrong things. I did some bad things, but I didn't commit a crime. See, that man is just as bad to me because he want to have his cake and eat it too. See, he wants to play on your sympathy. And y'all come up here and attack me for even addressing it in the comments and say, oh, well, you wrong. You don't know what he did and you shouldn't say this and that and the third. Well, we don't know because he didn't tell us. But he halfway told us, you see, because he wants to play on our sympathy. He wants to tell us, well, it wasn't a crime. He wants to give us just enough information so that we can empathize with him and feel sorry for him and say, well, it was years ago. But he ain't going to tell you how many years. He gonna tell you it was a crime. It wasn't a crime, but he's not gonna tell you what it was. He gonna leave the rest of your imagination, but he's not gonna give you full disclosure. He's not gonna give you transparency because he don't want you to know. And his people gonna come out like an army of keyboard warriors and take shots at folks who have YouTube channels because they mention your pastor. Your pastor did wrong by his own admission, but he won't tell you what he did. You followers of his ministry, you sowers into his ministry, he won't even be transparent with you. You are following a dishonest man. You are following a man who was content and keeping his sin from you until someone forced his hand. He said, well, it was years ago. Well, he didn't have a problem for standing up in front of you for years and not admitting. You was just supposed to take whatever he said, and you did. And that's why you can't come clean at this point, because you feel swindled. If you take accountability for letting that man get up to you and lie by omission for all those years, you will have to take accountability for your own gullibility. You'll have to take accountability for being swindled by a man of the cloth who stood before you and acted like he was without blemish. Yeah, you feel dumb because you followed him. But don't take the anger that you have towards him and direct it towards YouTubers and red hats. If you feel some kind of way, then you direct that anger where it belongs. No, not to the pastor, to yourself. I know it's hard to blame yourself. I know it's hard to look in the mirror and say, I did that, but you did that. You took God's glory that should be reserved for God alone, and you gave it to a man who stood before you and pontificated and extrapolated and exegeted. No, you responsible. That's your blame. Thank you so much, Gino Morgan, for the fire. Appreciate you for your support. No comment, no question, just showing love on this Father's Day. Appreciate you, bro. Liz C says, Happy Father's Day. Appreciate your support. Blame yourself for putting your faith in a man, for giving that faith that only belongs to God because only he is deserving. And you put that faith in a man who puts his pants on one leg at a time, just like me. And when that man did wrong, you didn't know about it. You thought he was blameless. You thought he was infallible. And when that man came out years later and told you, oh, I did wrong years ago. Well, for thinking people, for people who aren't blind sheep, it makes you wonder and say, did not the Holy Ghost compel you years ago, sir? Did not the Spirit of God compel you years ago? Why is it that you are just coming out now and saying, well, years ago, I have sinned against God? Does a leader not have a responsibility, y'all? Because over the last 48 hours, I've taken a lot of arrows. No, y'all ain't seen them because the comments ain't made it through. Folks getting blocked right and left, right and left. But they deserve to be blocked because their anger is misguided. Don't be mad at me. I haven't hurt you. I am not your shepherd. And what you need to do is look yourself in the mirror and understand that it is not the shepherd's job. Sorry, y'all, scratch that. It is not the sheep's job to lead the shepherd. Think about what I said. Some of y'all gonna get that later. What's over somebody's head? It is not the sheep's job to lead the shepherd. It is the shepherd's job to lead the sheep. Therefore, they are held to a higher standard. Appreciate you, Katie. Appreciate you, Swivel Lot. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just speaking. Y'all, I can't believe I've even been on here this long. Here on this Father's Day, to all the fathers out there, I thought I was going to open it up, y'all, but my kids are coming. My grandkids are coming. And it's Father's Day. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna keep you on this internet. I might come back later on tonight. Anybody gonna be up on the late night? We can commune here on the late night and just chop it up on some things if y'all available. Can you pencil me in? Faith Jarman, can you pencil me in? Moral Compass, are you gonna be on later on? Swivel Lock, are you gonna be around? I might just, after my grandkids leave, they're gonna come over and tear up the house like they do. And afterwards, I might just hop back on and holler at y'all at the end of Father's Day. Faith Jarman says, bet. Katie says, I'll be here. I might jump back on y'all and just give you the afterglow of Father's Day. Yes, it's going to pencil me in. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you rocking with me. This is a special opportunity to be before you on this channel. I don't take it lightly. I don't. I appreciate each and every one of y'all and your support because I know that you have options, not only on this internet, but options in life. You could be doing anything else other than rocking with me. And I appreciate y'all for your continued support. So I'm going to make it a point. I'm going to make it a commitment. Y'all, it might be late and you might have to catch the replay. Understand, I'm on the West Coast and I understand some of y'all are hours ahead. Some of y'all are across the pond and it's tomorrow for y'all. I get it. But I appreciate you for rocking with me anyway. And we're going to stay holding it down on this channel. Nordia Thomas says, yes, I'm available. Look, if you can't be here live, catch me on the replay. But I think I might have something to say after I get down and celebrate and crawl around in the flow and throw balls and toys and Legos and all kind of stuff with my grandkids, y'all. It's Father's Day. We rocking out. Why? Because we are the ones who chose the hard road. We are the ones who chose the hard path. We are the ones who've been here since day one. We are the day one ones. We are the ones who are the day ones. And you know what? We look at y'all who have walked away. We look at y'all who have ran away. We look at y'all who have shirked your responsibility because we who have gone through it understand that it's a blessing to be a father. It's a blessing to be in your child's life. So if Allah got it, he said, the onus is on us. Appreciate your support. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me on this Father's Day. I'm going to get to these grandkids. We're going to eat real good. And I might come to you later on with a full belly in my old dad bod. But I got a right to rock this dad bod on Father's Day. I might try to get in shape tomorrow. But today, we rocking the dad bod. We repping. Anybody understand? Shout out to all the fathers out there with the dad bods who rocking. We appreciate you for not walking away from your family. We appreciate you for being a part of your kid's life, and you have made the world better for being a part of your families. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for Gino Morgan TV for the support of the channel, y'all. And I will see you on the next one.